Hello, hello. What's up? What's up? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How you doing? How you doing? Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Good afternoon. How everybody doing on here? Hey, hey, hey. I come on here to share something with y'all. But what I want to share with y'all, like I said, y'all know I've been dealing with being mental, exhausted, and it's a challenge. But when you're going through that type of process, you gotta be careful on what you feed into, that adds more pressure to your life. So with that being said, I had to make a decision. Like, okay, I can't make somebody understand what I'm dealing with. That's me, whatever I'm dealing with, and be okay with that. So I just wanna share that with somebody that may be going through a certain situation or feel like you feel guilty for choosing you. Never feel guilty for choosing you. You can be a villain in somebody else's story, but don't let that make you feel guilty enough to go back to something where you didn't have no peace at. So I keep pushing through, with the mental pressure. And like I said, I appreciate all y'all for encouraging me. And I'm in a better, so much better in a better headspace by, actually going back to doing the things that I love, like doing music, uh, doing videos, getting more creative, and staying on my purpose. Yes, I'm okay. So yesterday was my son's birthday, so yeah, I was allowing myself to feel it, because I couldn't tell him happy birthday, but I even took the time to make a song for them. And that was a way to, that was therapy for me. I don't know. I pray the same way that he had a great birthday. Um, it was hard because, like, man, I'm missing birthdays, holidays. I just pray to God, pray to the Lord, and say, keep giving me the strength. I know better days are in front of me, not behind me, and we're gonna keep rocking out. But also, I have the album coming out. All I've been through. I'm releasing it in May. So y'all be on the lookout for that. I'll be sharing the cover artwork with y'all soon. I get the artwork back, and I will be doing like some CDs just so it could be like in remembrance. I'm gonna sign the CDs, and I'm gonna be giving it out to some of my people on here, and I have details when that's gonna come about. Well, like I said, I just appreciate everybody that supported me, everybody that poured into me, everybody that prayed for me, and just showed me so much love. I'm grateful. Yeah, I don't know. I get these hats from Hibbett Sports. Um, I just like fitted caps. I like fitted caps, and when I don't brush my hair, I just put a old cap on my head. But I love different aesthetics, different heads, different colors. But everything is starting to look up for me. Even though sometimes things may feel hard, but you have to get out your head. That's why I created the ebook called rebuilding with clarity because sometimes your brain is wired to say this is different. So it's causing you to, replay things, repeat things because it's familiar. But in order to break away, you have to create that discipline in your life. So that's why I try to help people. That's why I tell y'all to comment reset because it lets me know to send the ebook to you. And right now, I got it lowest possible for people, trying to get back. It's a workbook. It has you can print it out. It has a task for you to do because most people are visual. If you writing it down, that's actually showing a sign that you or a signal that you're serious about, becoming better and rebuilding and getting clarity into your life. So if you go to my community, I have posted a link in the last thing I had posted on YouTube. And like I said, it's 7 days. It's the ebook is like 69 pages, but it's four different steps that you can do in your life. Like start off actually acknowledging. A lot of people don't have the infrastructure in their life, or even simply saying, I'm gonna, hold myself accountable. A lot of people don't see it as that. They just have a projection and be like, if something happened or we allow, like for instance, I'm gonna give you an illustration. If you and your partner having a disagreement and you tell them what the problem is, you don't come back and say you hurt me. You set your feelings to the side and say, okay, what can make you feel this way, or what I'm doing wrong. But most of the people is actually just revolve around them. So I created an ebook to help you, see things from a different perspective. Like, don't go back and feel guilty. Say, I choose this because it brings me peace. I'm able to have certain amount of boundaries, right? So that's why I want to help others because communication comes easy and it's not forced. If somebody pressuring you to be in a situation, then you'll feel some type of way. But when you learn to actually create new thought patterns, you see things totally different. So, like I said, I have the ebook on my posts for a short limited time. It's 9.99. It's 69 pages. Then it has a workbook attached to it. And then if you go to my stand store, I do one-on-one calls to actually, help you. Even if you have a listen, need a listening ear. And I do have a school called Faith Talk First. That's a school store, uh, community where I post every day inspiration. What you mean? You tried 100 lives, nobody want to listen. But you gotta work on yourself. Keep working on yourself. Yes, rebuke Satan. Yep. But like I was saying, the ebook is to help you to rebuild with clarity. It has scriptures in there, breaking down what the scriptures are, and giving you some tips, like scenarios that I took from my personal experiences. Everything is different for everybody else, but it just give you some full insight how to navigate through those situations. So I took my time and you know actually build a system, and it works. Many people purchase it, and it was like God is doing wonderful things. 'Cause at first, I was skeptical about doing it, ebook because a lot of people, look at me as like, oh, he's selling stuff. Nah, I don't want, but I say, okay, this is something valuable. Only serious people, you could put something out there for free and people don't watch it. But once you put a meaning behind it, you see. I be talking about it is going to help you to really purchase something. Like I don't put too many people. I don't put people business out there at all because that's not. But if they care to share what they read, they can post it. But other than that, I've been good. I've been just giving y'all an update. Like my mental, actually, in my purpose, doing music, praying, you know, exercising. I feel different. Because at first everything was uncomfortable. Yeah, so everything was uncomfortable. But that's the movement that I needed to grow, push through. Because I had a choice to make: either stay stuck or level up. And I choose to move, even though it was feeling scary, even when it felt like I was gonna stay the same or I wasn't pleased with my life. So I made the decision to keep pushing. Now it's a part of my lifestyle. Um, Mentoring people, letting them see my flaws, letting them see my trials, and how I'm still consistent in everything I do. Because I'm consistent. Like days I don't want to post or pray, guys, like I'm not gonna allow you to stay there. Rely on my strength and keep pushing, keep pressing on. So I want to encourage somebody else to keep pressing on. Just because it's hard, you got to choose your heart. My heart is to give up or keep going. I choose to keep going, but I won't allow things to affect me. Like you have to be okay with, as long as you understand yourself, it's okay to be misunderstood by other people. So by understanding yourself and be okay with yourself and say, okay, I'm learning. I'm not gonna get everything all right. As long as I'm trying, I put effort, you're gonna be all right. So I remember a time that in my life I was going through something where it kept me overanalyzing everything. And I kept constantly replaying it, trying to see where I could have done things right. And the whole time that was just keeping me stuck. And whatever I told you, the cure for me was to actually acknowledge it and say one thing to myself. And that changed the thought pattern that I had. Like, wow, I didn't know. So that made me curious to, sit down and brainstorm how I was gonna come up with this ebook. And I said, just simply talk about what you're going through in your life. It took me a while to get that type of ebook out. Like, man, it's just that easy. If you actually reset, if you do the work, the hardest part is when you're stuck, when you feel like you don't have the resources or you don't have nobody around you that supports you. But once you break away from that and you put yourself out there, you want to know your purpose and get closer to God. See, sometimes you're gonna discover your purpose when you continue to seek Him. A lot of us think we have to be qualified for certain things. God will take the unqualified, make them qualified. But that pertains to fasting, cutting off things that old habits. Because once you start cutting off those distractions, That's when you start getting closer to God, and that bring you to clarity. And that's how you're gonna discover your purpose. You might know your purpose, and you just need the clarity to understand what your purpose is. You might have a care for people, taking care of people, or you might know how to sing. It be a lot of things. There's various things that you can do, but the way you find that is actually putting yourself and building a relationship with God. That's all you got to do is build a relationship. I had talent, but He gave me the right way to actually utilize my talent. See, my talent was always to, pray, to motivate. I've been doing this since a child, but I never thought about the liberty to get on social media and do, but, I had to understand before I got on here. Will people be judgmental? You're not supposed to pray online. I pray in my personal prayers online, like people, false prophets, street corners and that like that. I'm praying for people and God will align the people that's actually sincere and that they actually receive that prayer wholeheartedly. It's a lot of people I see in my comments, oh, you're not supposed to do that. As long as you focus on God, that's all that matters. But it's gonna have those type of people. You can't stop those. But once you block all that out, know God for yourself. Ain't nothing nobody else can tell you. When I learned that, it became consistent because it's not about likes or views. It's about reaching that one soul that may wake up at 3 a.m., 12 o'clock at night, having those thoughts, and God can use me to help them in those dark times. That's when that matter. That's counted on joy. That counted, my riches stacking up in heaven. So I do other things, and I get frustrated because I don't see anything or results. But God dealt with me with that, and He'll do the same for you. He will deal with you things that you think you're supposed to have, but He's telling you not to trust anything that's gonna, vanish. Don't put your trust in things that's gonna vanish. Vanity. And, and you start doing it just for the love of God, not for the money. It's different. So I went through that stage of me posting motivational content. I'm like, man, it's not doing nothing. And I started watching my analytics instead of watching, responding to the people that is actually touching. And I ask God to forgive me. He love us even when we sinners. But it's up to us to go to Him to ask for forgiveness and confess and be real with Him. So that's why I can be real with anybody else because there's nothing nobody can say about me that me and God has already talked about. So I learned to have that awareness. If I'm not getting through to you, it make no sense to go back and forth. Yes, most definitely. He died for us. And man, once you understand that, you'll smile, you'll worship him different. You'll, talk about the goodness. He loved us just that much to send his only for son. Yeah, you can pray for me. I don't turn down prayers. I say I'm not that type of person. We all need Jesus in our life. So we gotta keep striving, we gotta keep pushing, we gotta keep pressing on, we gotta keep trusting because fellowship is important. So that's why I'm back on here going live with y'all, talking to y'all, letting y'all know that I go through a lot of things, just like everybody else, but I don't stay stuck. Uh, reflect, regulate, and say, okay, I'm gonna take accountability for maybe I could have handled this different. and I take it as a lesson, even though sometimes it may be hard, you know, because your brain trying to process things and say, maybe I should have did it this way. Maybe I should go back. But you can't stay in guilt. God don't want you to stay in guilt. He don't want you to stay in shame either. He love you through all your mess. You know, it's people that only loves you on how you treat them. But God love you in your mess. So even when you fall, God still love you. Even when you fall, think about that. His love is the reason for you to get back up. So that's why I always get back up. I embrace things that I can't change and I accept things. Once I process that, that's a different look, you know. Yeah, we all go through hard times, but we gotta come from us. We gotta hold space. Just because we see things that way doesn't mean the next person will see that thing. What you going through the same way. It's totally different. Like I may be going through something. I can't expect you to feel my part, but you can have the sympathy, the empathy, or hold that space. Be like, I'm not gonna judge them. I'm not gonna say this. Put my feelings to the side. So once you put your feelings to the side, now you could be logic about it. You're not emotional, and that just come with life. Experience this. Um, yeah, most definitely. That's why I say for me is finding my purpose, finding what I like to do, love to do, and I can release music and people can relate to it. So sometimes the enemy is send a distraction. Sometimes the enemy cause a deception, but it's up to us to keep striving. Don't give him no power. Take authority back over everything that you want to do. Yeah, it's blessings. You know, most people want you to feel like, oh, you lost a good thing. It could be a good thing, still not alignment in line with what I got going on. Right. A lot of people never be in alignment with y'all. And I had to learn that for my own self because I care. I care how I make somebody feel. I care how I make somebody look at things. And I had to understand. Just because it didn't work out, it didn't work out. But I just want to come on here. I come back on here at 7 o'clock tonight and I'll talk to y'all. But if y'all have anything to ask me before I go, I'll let y'all ask me.